Meghan Rothschild is a melanoma survivor. She is a spokesperson for the Melanoma Foundation of New England. Meghan, always great to have you in with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We know the ultraviolet rays from the sun or the much more intense radiation that you get from a tanning bed. We know they have a direct link to skin cancer. But so many young people especially, so many young women especially, tan and tan artificially in those tanning beds, especially this time of year, and it is potentially so dangerous.
Absolutely. We know that melanoma is the second most common form of cancer for young people ages 15 to 29, primarily women like you were just talking about. And this time of year is when people start to really feel that vitamin D deficiency. They're longing the sun, they're longing that warmth that we get during the summer months. And so a lot of people turn to tanning beds, which are 3 to 6 times the UV radiation of the sun. So they're very dangerous. They're known carcinogens. In fact, they're just as carcinogenic as cigarettes. So it's an important topic to be discussing all year long.
This is personal for you. You know all too well what tanning can do. You were a tanning bed fan as a younger lady. You received a melanoma diagnosis when you were very young.
Yes, I was 20 years old. It was during my sophomore year of college. Same type of thing. I liked having a tan complexion. I liked the tanning booth feeling when it was the winter months. Started using tanning beds when I was 17 in an effort to get a tan complexion. Did that for about 2.5 years and noticed a suspicious looking mole on my abdomen that had started to itch and started to get really dark. So I pointed it out to my doctor, and the doctor actually told me that the mole looked fine and I didn't need to do anything further, but just to keep an eye on it. And I really fought back. I was only 19 at the time, and when you go to a doctor, you want to hear, you look healthy, everything's fine. But I fought back and demanded to have it removed, and it ended up being a stage 2 melanoma.
Through April 30th, the Melanoma Foundation of New England is conducting your annual, and I think, 8th annual, Your Skin is In, Tanning is Out, I love that name, pledge drive. Now pledging, what you're trying to get is teens. You go out to schools, you go out anywhere you can find a group of teens especially, and you talk to them, and you try and get them to pledge not to tan.
Yes, this is a program that was started 8 years ago, really focused around prom, and urging young people, particularly in the high schools, to sign a pledge stating that they would not use tanning beds to get a tan for prom. Then we expanded it because we realized there was a college component here. Kids were tanning around spring break to get a base tan before they went on their spring break vacation. So we expanded it to both high schools and colleges, and as of last year, we've opened it up to everyone because we're realizing that this is a pledge that people can make to themselves no matter what age. So this year we're asking, schools can bring this program free of charge, completely free of charge to their campus. We go out and we speak, we bring facial scanners, we bring materials to talk about melanoma, and we urge people to sign pledges when we're on campus. But now anyone can take it. So the general public can go onto our website and sign it. And we find that when parents lead by example, students, their children really follow. So that's really important.
Another great personal story here, connecting you and another young woman who's now also a spokesperson for the foundation. She saw you speak, got a skin check, and take the story from there.
Yes, her name is Bridget, and I was giving one of these Your Skin is In presentations at Salve Regina University out in Rhode Island, and she came to the presentation. She was a tanning bed user. She actually had a job at a tanning salon. But she came to the presentation for some reason, and her story is that after she left that night, something clicked with what I said, and she decided that she was going to quit the job at the tanning salon. She was going to give up her monthly membership, kind of start protecting her skin. And a few years after that, she noticed that a mole on her arm was starting to change, and she went back in her mind to my presentation and remembered the ABCDEs and the warning signs of melanoma. So she went to the dermatologist, had the mole taken off, and she was diagnosed with melanoma at that point. So it's so validating to hear this story because, we've been out doing this. We've been out on the road for 8 years spreading this message, and we're realizing now that it really is working. It may not urge someone to get checked right away, but down the line, they'll remember what we said, and that's what happened with Bridget.
I want to pick up on something you said in your last answer, working with parents, convincing parents who sometimes tan themselves the dangers for not just themselves, but their kids.
Yes, we know that if parents lead by example, if we start, telling kids to use sunscreen at an earlier age, we protect ourselves as parents. Kids will follow. And we've done some studies on this, and we realize that parent behavior is really indicative of what the child does. So it's really important that moms particularly and dads take a look at this pledge this year and think about making a pledge not only for themselves and for their own health, but for their child's health as well.
I would think tanning, to some extent, must be addictive in the broadest sense of that word. Now, obviously, it's not physically addictive like a drug you take, but I would think that having someone say to you, especially in the middle of winter, wow, you look great, what nice color you've got, that gets in your head. And when you thought, well, maybe I'll try it once, now you're doing it every couple of weeks, maybe more, to keep up that whole facade, if that's the right word, of the color and the compliments and everything that goes with it.
Well, yeah, a lot of people make that comment of, oh, you've got a healthy glow, or you've got a great tan, your skin looks nice. And I think it can be addictive because, a lot of people, when we go out and we talk about this, a lot of kids will say, well, I look thinner, it defines my muscles more. I look better in my prom dress. I look better when I go to a wedding and my legs are showing, I'm wearing a dress, things like that. People become, so fixated on. So it definitely has addictive qualities to it. Not only that, but with vitamin D deficiency and seasonal affective disorder and things like that, it really does make people feel better, but there's so many safe alternatives. There's sunless tanners, spray tans, there's makeup, lots of alternatives that if you feel like you need to look tan, we always tell people to love the skin you're in, but if you feel like you need to, there's safer alternatives out there.
Getting toward the end of our time, but role play with us a little bit. What do you say to someone who says to you, hey, listen, I get what you're saying. I understand. I just want to have a little color, feel a little better, especially in the winter. 1 or 2 tanning sessions, that's all I'm going to do. That's not going to hurt me.
When people say that to me, I respond and just say, you're doing so much damage. Even one visit to a tanning bed will increase your risk of getting melanoma, and it's just completely not worth it. And the second thing that I say to them is I give them alternatives, because I've tried every alternative out there. I've been turned orange in all sorts of colors. But I've also found really great products that work. So I usually give them a list of alternatives because I do understand, having personally gone through this, I understand the challenge there. But it's so important. The skin is your largest organ, and we take it for granted. We really need to learn to protect it better.
Meghan Rothschild from the Melanoma Foundation of New England, thanks for what you're doing. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me.